we're going to look at number 5, where we want to make sure you understand how to analyze the graph of a function. So find f of negative 2. This is telling me that x is actually negative 2. So on the x-axis, I'm going to locate negative 2, and what I want as my answer is what is my y value, which is 1. For what intervals is my function less than 0? So this is saying, where is my function below the x-axis? Okay, so taking a look, this entire chunk and section of my function shown here is all below, or all of my f of x, which again is my y values, would be negative, less than 0. It's all underneath here. But an interval is where I'm labeling all of my x's. So from where to where on my domain, on the x-axis, I'm starting to go below at 0, and I'm ending at 4, and then there's that change. So from 0 to 4 is the interval of where my function is below the x-axis. It's all negative y values. How many times does the line y equals 1 intersect the function? So here's y equals 1 about right here. I'm going to draw it's a horizontal line. How many times does it actually hit the graph? It hits once, twice, 3 times. For what x values does f of x equals 3? So this is y equals 3. What is x? So y is 3. Find my graph. X is 5. What are the x-intercepts of my function? An intercept is where is the point on the x-axis that your function is hitting the x-axis. That didn't really make sense, sorry. Okay, so I am hitting the x-axis. This function is crossing right here, and right here. And so an intercept is always going to be at a point. So 0, 0, 4, 0, and 6, 0. Y-intercepts, where is this function hitting or crossing the y-axis? And that's only at the origin again, so 0, 0. All right, domain is reading from left to right. Where does my function start? So right over here, and then it goes left to right, stops right here. But I'm only going to be writing down my x values. So from negative 4 to 6. But there are actual points there. It is exact, so we use our brackets. What's the range? Okay, the range, I'm going to figure out what's the lowest point. Look at my y values. I start at negative 2, and I go until positive 3. And again, there are actual points, so I'm using brackets. All right, what intervals? So now again, interval. We're going to be looking at our function increasing and decreasing. What I like to do here is take a look at the entire domain. I should be starting at negative 4, ending at 6, only writing down the x's. So I am going to be, let me change the color here. Okay, so I'm going to be increasing from, oh, that did not change my color. There we go. From here all the way to here. Here, this whole chunk is increasing from 2 to 5. And it's interval, so it's always our parentheses. Okay, and I'm decreasing from negative 4 all the way down until I hit 2. So negative 4 to 2. And then again at 5, I start to decrease till 6. Okay, so I really go through my entire function. I'll tend to start over here. I know my graph, if I were riding that roller coaster, it would be down, 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 down. So at negative 4, all the way to 2, and then I have a change, so 2 all the way to 5 is the increase, and 5 to 6 is the decrease. So make sure you have your whole domain shown. And then we have local max and local min. And just make sure that you have the correct notation here. So local max here is a point. Let me change this again. Okay, so a max point right here. And again, maximum has to be increasing to decreasing. Okay, so that would not be a max point, just increasing to decreasing. So the actual value is 3 located at 5 on the axis, on the x-axis. And the local minimum is down here. And the actual value is -2 at +2. So this is the what. Okay, our y values are the what, and then here are my x values. All right, so going up to number 6, you have to use a calculator. Make sure you're using a calculator, sketch a picture, find the local max and min, and then increasing, decreasing. I'm going to sketch a picture. I don't have the Inspire hooked up right now, but I'll try to go through my steps. So the picture of this is going to look, if you were to use your Inspire or any graphing utility, your picture is going to look something like this. Here's -1, 1, it's kind of crossing, hitting, going through. All right, it's hard to draw with these, so it's kind of terrible. But once I see this, I see, all right, there's probably a max point there, and there's a minimum point here. So I need to now use the Inspire, and you're going to go to, once you're in the graph, you're going to go to Menu, Analyze Graph, pick Maximum or Minimum. Your lower bound, you want to go from the left, hit Enter, to the right, hit Enter, and then this location is going to pop up. The actual point, I will write down, is going to be, oh, sorry, would be -0.775 point, like that, 0.186. Okay, and then once you find the minimum, your minimum point should be +0.775. And now since we're down below, the y now becomes -0.186. Okay, but from this information, you can figure out increasing, decreasing, and then we have our max and min. Make sure notation-wise, max is actually 0.186 at -0.775. And the min, that's actually going to be our y values, -0.186 at +0.775. Okay, so I'm going to be increasing up until this max point, then I'm decreasing, then I'm increasing again. So the increase, that's going to be -infinity to -0.775. And then again, it starts back up at 0.775. That's our positive now. And it goes on into infinity. And then the decreasing happens. And then again, from here to here, what we're looking at the x's. So it's the interval. Decreasing is at -0.775 to +0.775. Okay. And then over here, for number 6b, our graph is going to be similar, but we're going to kind of flip this. So now we have, oh gosh, something like this going on. Okay, our minimum point over here is going to be negative 1.16. Negative. And the max point, the actual point, is going to be 2.16 and 3.25. Okay, so the maximum would actually be, the actual value is 3.25 at 2.16. The minimum value is going to be negative 4.05 at negative 1.16. And then increasing and decreasing. I'm increasing from here to here, decreasing on the other sides. So increase. The interval is starting now. Again, it's going to be what's going on in the x-axis. We're reading the domain or the interval. So from negative 1.16 to 2.16. And then I'm decreasing negative infinity to negative 1.16 and 2.16 to infinity. All right, I'm going to save this and then make one last, actually I'm going to just keep going. Here we go. All right, even, odd, or neither. This is pretty quick. So determine if your function's even, odd, or neither. How we do that algebraically is we are plugging in a negative x value, and we want to figure out what's going on with our signs. So if I were to plug a negative x into this function, my numerator will become negative x. If I have a negative x or any negative number and I raise it to the 5th power, which is odd, it's going to stay negative. And I don't do anything with this negative 1. So I have a change, and this stayed the same, so this is neither. Again, for B, I'm plugging in a negative x to see what happens. A negative number to the 4th power is going to keep that positive. Negative number to the 2nd power is going to keep that also positive. So since both sides are positive, positive, stay the same, this is going to be even. And the last one, a negative number raised to the 3rd is going to keep it a negative number. And then a negative number will switch that to be negative 3x. Now both sides went from positive to negative, so this is odd. All right, good luck studying.